Okay, so in this video we are going to write a script in order to parse our response body. Previously we saw how we can create a REST request in order to get the response for in order to get the historical data, let's say. And you can see here on the right side we have the response body data field. That's where we have actually our response. If we send a request now, we're going to get the response in that response body. So what we're going to do, we are going to write a script which is basically going to use the answer that we will have in the response body. We're going to parse it, and then we're going to retrieve only the information that we want, because the response has more data than what is needed for us. For example, it has latitude, longitude, and I don't know, country code, city code, all this kind of information that we don't need actually to import into our table. So let's write our script. So click on plus here and look for script and give it a title. So I'm going to put, for example, parse response body. So create two input variables. The first one is going to be status underscore code, which will have the status code data field. The second one is the response body, which will have the response body data field. Okay, so now we can use, in fact, the input variable status underscore code into our script. So the first thing when we start our script is to check if we have a successful response. To do that, we are going to have a condition here, input dot status underscore code. If the value of this of the status code, if it is 200, that means we have a successful response. Okay, so in that case, every line that we are going to write inside this condition will be executed. So what is the first thing that we do in our if condition? So we are creating a local response body variable, okay, in here, which will have the parsed response. Okay, the parsed response, we will get it by using json.parse. Okay, and we will, into parentheses, we will have the input dot response underscore body. So we are taking the response from the input variable that we have into the brackets, and we are parsing it, and we are JSON parsing it. Okay, and once we are parsing it, we will have the entire result in the variable that we have created, which is response body. Okay, so once we have done this part, we have to find a way how we can store all the values, because we're going to have a big length of response. So what we are going to do is to create an array, a summary array. The summary array will contain multiple objects. Each object basically represents the summary for a specific day. So we're gonna have, for example, summary array here, and then each object, it is basically day 1 we have this number, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, and so on, for the entire historical data for a specific country. So that's why we need to create a summary array. And then how we are going to get the value? So we are going to get the value if we are going to create a loop. We are going to create a loop into the entire response body. We're gonna loop in the entire response body and then get the values that we want for each date. Okay, so the syntax for looping, it's for parentheses var I equal to 0 and I smaller than the response body length. Okay, and for each iteration, what we do, we are creating our object. Okay, if you remember, the summary array will have multiple objects. So we are creating here our first object, and each object will have the country, confirmed cases, recovered cases, death cases, and date. And the way we access the country value, if you remember, in the response body that we receive in the JSON string, we have it in the capital country property. Okay, so this is how we can access the value of country. With the same In the same way, we're going to get the value for all other information that we want: confirmed cases, recovered cases, and death. So this is for each iteration. We are creating an object and we are storing all the values that we want into our object. But we have to store all the objects that we are creating into an array. That's why now we are creating we are saying to the summary array, for each iteration, every object which is actually created, it should go inside our array. So summary and then equal to the summary object. So summary 0, you will have the summary object which is for 0, and then we're gonna have for the entire length. Okay, so we have sorry, so we will have at this point an entire array with multiple objects. Each object will contain the summary for each day. Okay, so now we have to find a way in order to output all of this. So we are creating an output variable the same way we have created an input variable like status underscore code, and we create here output variable which is country summary equal to summary. Okay, so the country summary, it's an array. So let's create our output variable country summary. So this is an array object, so make sure that you select array object here, and then you create a summary object. This is a child item, and then you create all other child items, which is country, confirmed cases, recovered cases, and death, and also date. Okay, this is our output variable for our action step. But for the entire action output, we are going to also create exactly the same thing. We can actually create a template in our action step and use it here, but it's not a very big array here. We don't have 25 child items, so I prefer to recreate. So you have to just repeat the entire thing that we have done in the previous step for the output variable. So country summary, array object, summary object, create here, and then all the child items, which is country, and then we create our confirmed cases, okay. So you can notice there on the right side you have the data pair, which is country summary, because this is the one that we have created in this script action step that we are going to actually use in here. So once we have done with this the creation here with all the child items, we can just drag and drop the data pair that we have here in the script parse response body and put it directly to the action output. That's how we can take the values from the script, and then the action output can be used somewhere else. Okay, so once you have done with that, so country, we need one more child item, which is the date item. Click on exit mode, just drag and drop country summary. That's it. Save all changes, and we are going to now test our entire action. So we should have India as value, so we have it. Click on test, run test, click on action. So you can see here we have the result. This is what you should get, and thanks for watching.